Have you ever felt the urge to speak up, to defend yourself, to set the record straight, only to wonder if silence might speak louder? There are moments in life when saying nothing is not weakness, but wisdom. When holding your tongue isn't about fear, it's about strength. Because silence, when chosen consciously, can be more powerful than any argument. You see, truth doesn't always need a spokesperson. It doesn't rush, it doesn't scream, it waits, quietly, patiently, and eventually it rises to the surface. Karma doesn't need your voice to act. It works in silence, just like time. The world is already noisy. What if your silence was the loudest thing in the room? What do you do when someone lies about you to tear down your name? Most people rush to defend themselves. They shout, they explain, they fight to clear their name. But here's a truth that changed everything for me. Not every lie deserves your energy. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Your silence isn't weakness, it's restraint. It's knowing that time reveals more than arguments ever could. Your actions will always speak louder than their slander. Let them talk. Let them twist the story. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more truth. And the truth has a way of surfacing, especially when you're too focused on becoming better to bother proving them wrong. Betrayal hurts most when it comes from someone you trusted. A friend, a partner, family. It shakes your world not because you didn't see it coming, but because you never imagined they'd be the one holding the knife. But here's what most people forget. Betrayal doesn't define your worth. It reveals theirs. And that's why silence, not revenge, is the higher road. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You don't need to expose them. You don't need to create a scene. Walk away not in weakness, but in mastery. You kept your peace. You kept your dignity. And karma? She moves faster when you're not chasing justice. Let the silence speak for you. It always does. Sometimes people poke at you, not because you hurt them, but because your presence reminds them of what they lack. Your peace disrupts their chaos. Your growth threatens the illusion they live in. They want a reaction. They feed on your fire. But here's where wisdom steps in. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." That pause, it's your power. Because silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. When you respond emotionally, you give them control. But when you stay still, you stay strong. You're not avoiding the fight. You're choosing not to waste energy on someone who already lost the one thing you kept, your peace. So ask yourself, is this really worth your inner balance? Or is silence the smarter answer? There will come a time when your calmness is mistaken for weakness, when your silence invites laughter, judgment, and even mockery. But don't take the bait, because true strength isn't loud, it's steady. It's in your ability to stay grounded when others expect you to crack. Zeno once said, "Man conquers the world by conquering himself." You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain why you're not reacting. Let your results speak. Let your life do the talking. The oak tree doesn't tremble because the wind mocks it. It stands tall, and one day the same people who laughed at your silence will be silenced by your success. So hold the line. Stay calm. The loudest thunder often comes after the quietest storms. Betrayal hurts. It cuts deep, especially when it comes from someone you trusted. And in that pain, there's a voice inside that screams, "Get even." But here's the truth. The moment you chase revenge, you step into their darkness. Seneca once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." You don't need to sink to their level. You don't need to trade pain for pain. Because silence? That's not weakness. It's transcendence. It's choosing healing over hatred. Revenge feels like power, but it often leaves you empty. Peace, though, that's real strength. Let karma do its quiet work. You don't have to fight fire with fire. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away without a word. Sometimes, no matter how clearly you speak, how kind your intentions, or how true your heart is, some people will still choose to misunderstand you. Why? Because they're not looking for truth. They're committed to their narrative. And that's when silence becomes powerful. Marcus Aurelius said, The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are determined not to listen. Let your actions speak. Let your character unfold quietly over time. Prove nothing. Just live in a way that leaves no room for doubt. Because peace isn't found in convincing others. It's found in being unshakably yourself. In the end, silence isn't surrender. It's strategy. It's strength. We stay silent not because karma is some mystical force we blindly trust, but because consequences are real and truth eventually reveals itself. We're not here to control others, to argue them into awareness, or to chase validation. We're here to master ourselves. And that's the quiet path of the strong, the ones who know when to speak, and more importantly, when not to. Because sometimes the loudest voice is the one that simply walks away with dignity, clarity, and trust that life will handle the rest. So next time you're misunderstood, mocked, or betrayed, ask yourself, do I need to react, or can I rise in silence?